Hey YouTube, this is Rest Music Park Fan 62. It is Monday, October the 23rd. We're roughly about 1 week away from Halloween. Now, if you're like me and you grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, you would know every Halloween Disney made some great Halloweenish type movies. So you had movies such as Hocus Pocus, and then on Disney Channel you had some that are like stuff like Under Wraps and all this other stuff. Well, the movie I'm talking about today is called um, Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Now, the plot of this movie is basically you have three kids: Adam, Chelsea, and Dylan, I think his name is. Um, Basically, Adam and Chelsea get grounded, and so they want to sit their mom out on a date because Adam wanted to go see a rock and roll concert, and then Chelsea was going to go on a date with her boyfriend named Peter. Now, basically, the plot of this movie is they set out they set up a spot where her mom is going to meet this potential date, which is at the local supermarket. Um, and she bumps into somebody named Dimitri Vantato. And so they got to talking. So he asked her, "Are you married?" and all this other jazz that you normally ask when you're starting to talk to people. Well, she's like, "No," and he's like, "Would," and basically asked her out on a date. He, she agreed. The next day, they, as as their mom was getting ready to go out on the date, she had nerves since their dad died, I think it was. And so this is her first date in a long time. Um, she's like, Dimitri seems like a nice guy, but I don't know. And there's all this stuff like that. Basically, nerves. Well, Dimitri finally pulls up in a red Ferrari. Now, this is going to be the key to something throughout the movie you're going to start to notice. So, Dimitri was all about like, oh, how she has the fire in her, the fire burns, and all this other stuff like that. And that's one thing that was kind of neat is to kind of have some of those older style references in it. What now? So he's like, he had this own version of what he wanted to, where the mom had something different. So they go to this fancy steakhouse. Now, Taylor's the uh, smallest brother's name, not Dylan. I'm sorry. Um, Started to notice some things about Dimitri that wasn't right. So after Dimitri and their mom left, um, they Taylor and Chelsea heard their garage door open. They looked out and saw Taylor riding his bike, and they both screamed, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Gonna go save mom." He's like, "Save mom," uh, and uh, he's like, Taylor thinks Dimitri's a vampire. Uh, so finally, Adam and Chelsea ride their bikes downtown and find Taylor. Um, so they go in the steakhouse. It's a more upper class style steakhouse than something like a Texas Roadhouse. And so they talked, and so as they were leaving to take Taylor home, Adam saw their mom and nothing. And so this is when Adam started to know something was not right about Dimitri. Um, so they took Taylor home to the babysitter, which he really likes. And then, as Chelsea was taking her helmet off, Adam is like, "We have to go save mom." Um, and Chelsea is like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, back at the steakhouse, it was just mom and nothing." So finally, they agreed. Um, so they're like, "Okay, what did mom want to do?" And one of them was the Harvest Festival, which looked like something like your local county fair or something like that. Just took place around Halloween. So they went there, um, and they saw Dimitri. Adam threw a baseball from one of the local games, um, and Dimitri sped up, grabbed Adam. They went behind one of the games, and he's like, basically like, "What are you doing?" Um, and he's like, "I'm saving my mother." He's like, "Aren't you the one that set me up?" Uh, he's like, "You're Dimitri Vantato," which is his name. Uh, and one of the famous lines in the movie is called, which says, "I'm Adam. I'm 13. Dimitri, I'm a vampire." So he goes off. Dimitri goes off laughing, which is kind of one of those vampire style laughs. So they, so Chelsea finds Adam sitting at a picnic table while Chelsea tried to get down off of the Ferris wheel. I forgot to mention she was on the Ferris wheel trying to look for Adam, Dimitri, and their mother. So Adam is like, Dimitri's a vampire. Um, so they were trying to figure out what to do. Um, so then Adam remembered where Dimitri lived. Um, but then remember, oh, that's 5 miles from here. Um, so Adam called his friend who was going to go to the rock and roll concert, and so they get so they get there by taxi. I forgot to mention that they got they got there by their friend for the concert, and so he's like, "Yep, this is the place." So they go in, and it's like this big old mansion with barely any furniture in it. So they finally found Dimitri's coffin. Um, and so as they tried to pick it up, it was way too heavy for the both of them. So they hear Dimitri's car come up with the mother in the trance. And as this is going on, um, the other side plot you have of it is Taylor called the vampire hunter, and so he found them at the steakhouse, I think it was, and so finally the vampire hunter gets to Dimitri's house too. Um, so when Dimitri and the mother named Lynette got in, Dimitri's like, "Human," um, and so he knew something wasn't right. So he got, so he found Adam and Chelsea. So Adam was able to get Dimitri's coffin into the lake. And he's like, he basically said, "Oh yeah, you can't swim." So so Dimitri found Chelsea. I love the quick uh, clothing change it did in it, and so he's like, basically, my coffin for your sister, and you hear Chelsea go, "Don't do it." You hear Dimitri go, "She make a lovely vampire princess." And I was like, "Okay, hold on." So they finally get Dimitri's coffin back to where it was. And Dimitri's like, "Yeah, I'm not holding my end of the bargain." So basically, you had this exposition of them going back and forth. Um, and and then Dimitri's fangs came out, and then so you could hear Adam and Chelsea going, "Mom, Mom," and as this was going on, the vampire hunter tried to get in, but got flung into the grand piano. So they finally got Dimitri out. You heard him howling, so he basically almost busted the door down. So um, you saw Lynette, the mother, hit Dimitri with something. He falls back into the coffin. As he's going back into the coffin, you hear him going, "Lynette!" And then the vampire hunter comes in and puts like braided, silver plaited nails or something into the coffin. And he's like, they ask, what are we going to do with him? And as you hear him banging on the coffin door, going, "Lynette." Um, and so the vampire turns like, "We're going to ship him off to Finland or somewhere like that." And um, they're like, "Would you?" He's like, Lynette's like, "Do you want breakfast or something like that?" Um, and so she mentioned chocolate chip pancakes, which was the kid's favorite. And then so as it was going off, you could hear him going, "Lynette, Lynette, happy Halloween." So that is Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Now, for a movie that is 23 years old now, it has held up pretty well considering all of things. Because this was in 2000. Now, the thing I liked about this movie was the fact it was not your typical love story style video. So it's nothing like a Twilight or something like that. This was years before you had the big hit of Twilight. Now, also the thing I liked about it was the fact, it's something out of Disney's comfort zone when it comes to stuff like that. Plus, um, Disney usually does a great job with Halloween style stuff. Sometimes Christmas as well. Um, there is one I'm going to do for Christmas. That won't be for a while, but that is the big thing, is because they do such a great job at that sort of stuff, and a lot of it's the smaller detail of it as well, such as the red Ferrari. One thing I forgot to mention too was the car salesman noticing the glowing footprints and all this other stuff like that. And that is one of the cool things that you notice throughout the film of those smaller details like that. In the comments below, have you seen this movie? If so, what do you think? Um, Now, later this week, I am going to do a review of the movie The Initiation of Sarah. Now, please note this. This is the remake of it that came out on ABC Family. There is one from like 1957, I think it is, or something in that ballpark. It's not going to be that one. It's going to be the one from 2010 or 2012. Um, so keep an eye out for that review. Um, Also, if you have any other movies for me to review, um, put them down below as well. Also, uh, keep in mind as well, I'm not going to be able to watch a lot, but if it's one that I recognize, I will try to review it. Now, there are some other Disney movies I may try and review as well, like Under Wraps and all of that. Also, I may start a series on this channel next year where it's reviewing older Disney movies. Um, so let me know if that's something you're interested